Lori Raymond, a member of the Midwifery Program's class of 2026, and I have the immense honor of welcoming you all to our white coat ceremony. This ceremony is a graduation of sorts, as it marks our transition into clinical practice in our chosen field of midwifery. Herein, we take an oath of commitment to professionalism, patient care, and ethical conduct. And this white coat is a symbol of the responsibility we bear and the trust we garner. Honored guests, we thank you for taking the time to participate in our auspicious occasion. Friends and family, we thank you for your love and support as we continue our journey into becoming providers for our communities. Faculty and staff, your support and dedication to the success of this program and us, the students, is not unnoticed, is greatly appreciated, and we thank you for your hard, diligent work. Lastly, my cohort, my lovely, lovely cohort. You all are absolutely phenomenal, fascinating, and unique human beings. And I have no doubt in my mind that you will each become an amazing midwife. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium our program director, Ms. Shakima Wiggins. Affectionately called Shakima by all who know her, she is a graduate of the Downstate Midwifery Program herself. Hailing from a background of public health, research, and nonprofit work, Ms. Wiggins is not only our director, but a professor and mentor as well. While continuing her own journey of academic and professional growth, she prides herself in continuing to be a strategist that considers the student experience as she helps prepare us, the future generation of midwives, to holistically approach the complexity of this work. So without further ado, Ms. Shakima Wiggins.
Thank you, everyone. I'm so glad to see family and friends here with us tonight to celebrate our students. So I'm just gonna take a moment to address you guys. And I wanna start off by saying I'm in awe of you, really. And you know we have a special connection, all of you. You in particular, you really left an impression on me because you came into our program and you had to face a lot of challenges, a lot of unexpected shifts. And, you know, you all stayed seated and you buckled in. And I'm really appreciative of that. And I wanted to take tonight to say thank you for allowing myself and allowing the faculty to join you on this journey into your education. I'm thinking back to the unexpected phone calls and the updates and all of the many calls to IT, and you all have just really embraced this moment in time. So I wanted to say to you all, with the many firsts that you have experienced, there'll be many more firsts to come. And I'm thinking about the first time you'll measure bellies and the first time you'll throw stitches. We're gonna be there too, and we're seated, and we're strapping in to be with you, and we're gonna cheer you on until you reach this finish line. I think that winning is not foreign to you all. I know you've been kicking distractions out of your way and hindrances out of your way, and you have really been pushing minute by minute and day by day, and none of this is lost on me. So I admonish you to keep going. Don't stop, don't back up. Reproductive justice is waiting on you. Families are waiting on you. Babies are waiting on you. I know that you have what it takes, and I encourage you to just remain seated, stay locked in. We have your back, and we are rooting for you. I'm gonna take this moment now to invite the Dean of the School of Health Professions to come up and give remarks. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Alan Lewis.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alan Lewis, and as Professor Wiggins said, I'm the Dean of the School of Health Professions. Welcome to everybody. Good to see so many folks out tonight. We always start off with lots of thank yous, and I want to start with, first of all, thanking our new media services group, who is responsible for our technology and lights and all our production tonight. We can't do anything without them. We also want to thank our amazing midwifery faculty and staff, as the students know very well. And we want to thank our students, because you are our guest of honor tonight, and you've done the Herculean task of getting to this point in your discipline. And most importantly, we want to thank family members and friends, without whom many of you students wouldn't be here today. So let's give our family members and friends a round of applause. You know, midwifery is a great profession. Our program here at Downstate has been here for over 50 years. If I'm not mistaken, it started in 1974. And I'm willing to venture that some of our midwives who are being honored tonight were not even born in 1974. So it's been around for a while. It's been a long tradition that's been held in the high regard and high esteem. You know, midwifery is a great profession. We know that the scope of practice in this country is pretty broad. Midwives not only deal with birthing issues, they also deal with primary care for women's health. You know, over in Europe, midwifery is a little more well known because people know more about it. It's a little more visible, but their scope of practice is a little narrower. They just primarily do birthing. In this country, we're still waving the flag and the banner to try to make sure it becomes more well known what midwives do. So we still have some work to do. But this occasion tonight is designed to really focus in on what these amazing students have done in reaching that critical point in their educational process where they're beginning to wind down or are winding down the didactic, which is the classroom-based experience, and are moving to their clinical experience. That's when the fun starts. That's when you really begin to function as a midwife. White coat ceremonies have been around for quite a while. Not that long, though. 1993, I think, is when the first one started over in Columbia University, just across town. And many health professions do use white coat ceremonies as a rite of passage to signify the change from didactic learning or classroom learning to clinical learning. Although physicians are a little odd, they give the white coat right at the beginning of the process of coming into medical school. But we know tonight we're honoring these amazing students because they have really done a great job, and they are at the point of moving out to their clinical placements, and that is the last phase before they move into finishing the program and going out and spreading their wings and being full-fledged midwives. So we urge you that as you go forward to really think about everything that you already know. You're well prepared. Your amazing faculty has gotten you really ready in terms of ethical principles, concepts of midwifery, understanding the role of culture in providing services. There are lots of things that you already know. Now it's your time to go out and sort of spread your wings and test your knowledge and take some small risks, not too many big risks, but some small risks as you begin to learn. That's the only way you learn, is to try things out in the real context. So with that, I'm going to say congratulations, students. Happy to be here, to be a part of this occasion. We're expecting great things from you to carry on our great downstate tradition of over 50 years of having been in the business of training midwives, and glad your families are here. And congratulations, and let's get going.
Thank you, Dean Lewis, for your wonderful remarks. Good evening, everyone. My name is Erica Lewis, and I'm part of the 2026 cohort. I thank you for joining us today. It is my honor and privilege to introduce today's guest speaker, Annalee Reed. From a very young age, Annalee's path into the world of midwifery has been written in the stars. As a little girl with a Fisher-Price doctor's bag, she's instinctively knew she was destined to bring a new life into the world, long before ever witnessing birth herself. It was only after beginning her midwifery studies that she learned that her grandmother had been a midwife in Jamaica, a discovery that affirmed her life's purpose. Annalee is a proud alumna of SUNY Downstate, where she earned her Master's of Science in Midwifery, and she also holds a Bachelor's of Science in Medical Laboratory Sciences. As a former class president, Annalee made her mark at Downstate by reigniting the beloved Blessed of the Hands and white coat ceremony tradition for the midwifery program back in 2019. Her dedication to student life and her commitment to fostering interdisciplinary collaboration among healthcare professionals remain hallmarks of her time here. Today, Annalie works as a home birth midwife in New York City, operating out of Brooklyn, where her passion for serving her community shines through her work. From founding Supermama Birth Services to her advocacy in global midwifery, public education on women's health, and mentoring the next generation of midwives, Annalie's impact is far-reaching. She has contributed to research aimed at improving fetal and maternal health outcomes and has created spaces for families to feel supported, educated, and empowered. Annalie's story is one of legacy, leadership, and love for midwifery, and we are so grateful to have her here with us today. Please join me in welcoming the remarkable Annalie Reid. Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. Distinguished guests, faculty members, family, friends, and most importantly, our honored students. It is a huge privilege for me to stand before you today. As we celebrate this pivotal milestone in your journey, your white coat ceremony, or as we called it in my days, the blessing of the hands and white coat ceremony. I heard Dean Lewis talking about the blessing of the hands, and I was like, what is that? Well, the blessing of the hands was our collaboration of the older tradition of blessing the hands of the midwife as she walked into her journey, because our hands are the things that we use to guide life into the world, and the tradition of the white coat ceremony, which was developed by, as he said, the Columbia School. And so, as Erica said, 7 years ago, I redreamed that moment for the midwifery department here. Every time I would go to a student life meeting, they were like talking about the newest requests for the med students. This mic is a little too loud for me. The requests for the midwifery, the medical students, white coat ceremony, and the OT students, white coat ceremony. And I was like, why don't we have a white coat ceremony? And one of our professors at the time, Marianne Laughlin, she was like, we had a blessing of the hands many years ago when I was in school, and she's retired now, so that tells you how many years ago that was at the time. And I was like, okay, let's do that as a combination so that, there's no confusion when we ask the school for funds and reserve spaces and ask Dean Lewis to help us with this program. And we were able to get that reestablished for the midwifery program. And for me at the time, my goal as a class president was always to, or just as a student midwife, was to have the word midwife seen more often, heard more often. If it popped up on the student event calendar, medical students would be like, oh, the midwives are having an event. We didn't even know that there was midwifery school here. Or, as small as the environmental support staff coming and saying, yeah, the midwives are having an event. That was big to me. And I'm just here reminiscing at this moment. But I really thank you for the opportunity to be here. Reliving that moment for myself is really special, and also to give you guys some guidance as you walk into the next part of your journey. And so, midwifery class of 2026, this moment as you begin your clinicals marks the beginning of an extraordinary journey, one that will be defined by resilience and a commitment to the profound, beautiful science and art of midwifery. And when I think of the word art, I think of a craft in which many things can be taught, but also there are many things that come from the inside of that person, from their soul, from their depth, that they have applied to this thing, this craft that they love. And in that way, I connect the gift that you will have of your intuition as the art of your midwifery practice. And I think that today my job is to offer bits of guidance on how you will protect that intuition as it grows and deepens in your work, as you begin clinicals and go on to become brilliant midwives. So here's what I've gathered over the years. I have 6 things. Number 1 for me will always be lean on your community. Midwifery can feel a little isolating at times, but you never have to be alone, guys. You never have to be alone. Build your network of peers, mentors, later on colleagues who understand your journey, and you have your built-in community right here, right? Don't let go of each other. Share your experiences, seek advice, support one another. I would not have been able to get through midwifery school with as much reserve, I guess you could say, as I did, and jump into a private practice and all the other things that I did if it was not for my girls, okay? To this day, our cohort, we still check on each other every now and then, and I also have my close circle of 3, one who is here today. Shout out to Melissa Banfield. We talk literally almost every day. Literally every day we talk. And anytime there's any questions one of us have that we might feel is too dumb to say out loud to our professors or to our preceptor or to the MD that's spewing questions at you at rapid fire, because that will happen, we ask each other. And then we don't feel dumb anymore, because there's no such thing as a dumb question, right? We drop it in the chat, we call each other, whatever that looks like, but hold on to that community. When I lost my grandmother, who was my midwife ancestor, in the middle of a skills practice, my girls were there. When I experienced my first unfavorable birth outcome, my girls were there. And so was my home birth collective of midwives and my mentor, Takia Ballard, and my sister, who's a nurse, and my parents. Lean on your community. I promise I could do an entire lecture on this one piece, but I'll leave it here. Lean on your community. This will protect your intuition as it grows and deepens. Number 2, cultivate lifelong learning. Midwifery is both an ancient and ever-evolving profession, right? Those of us who are 2nd or 3rd generation midwives have some of that ancestral knowledge ingrained into our DNA. And then there's the learning that's passed on through our textbooks and the old midwives and doctors that you'll encounter during your clinicals and maybe your first job. The best midwives are the ones that are continuously seeking to expand their knowledge. And that really goes for any profession. Be curious about everything. That old Haitian doctor that's giving you unsolicited lectures about anaerobic and aerobic bacteria management, listen to him. The Russian midwife that's telling you to do an enema for that GBS patient, and you're like rolling your eyes because who does pre-labor enemas really anymore anyways? Listen to her. Have your notebook with you everywhere that you go. Attend grand rounds as often as you can, even if you can only stay for 10 minutes at the front end or the back end. Increase your learning. And if you have a preceptor that's willing to debrief with you after every birth, lock in that 7 minutes if you can. Follow her back to the locker even at the end of your shift. And even if it's gonna make you 10 minutes late for your bus, get that debrief and get your learning, because it's going to be invaluable for you. This will protect your intuition as it grows and deepens. Number 3, embrace the human connection. Technology and protocols in this year 2025, as we know, has become such a thing, and no one can ever take away the care that we provide as midwives. But we do see that there are things that are creeping in more and more, like more telehealth visits and just throwing protocols in their emails instead of having one-on-one conversations. And sometimes those are appropriate, but also remember that sometimes that human connection is necessary. I can't tell you how many times I have gently transitioned a frantic birthing person who's all by herself, or a teenager who's been told all of a sudden that now she's got to have a cesarean birth, And she's just like, I don't want to. This is not my plan. Nobody's listening to her until I walk into that room and I sit on her bed and I touch her hand or her arms and I listen to her until she has come to peace with the fact that this is the next step in the journey. I didn't send her a flow sheet that explained why we're at where we are now. I talked to her and I gave her my time. She was my only assignment at that time. And that human connection is going to be invaluable for you. Do not let any of the nurses, the doctors, or even other midwives rush you away when you sense that a connection is needed, because you will begin to feel yourself pulled away from the connection to your practice if you compromise that. Number 4, prioritize self-care. Another topic that we can do a whole lecture on site. I'm sure you guys have heard many times people say self-care, self-care, self-care. And I'm going to tell you again. Recognize the importance of rest, reflection, and boundaries. Maybe even set an alarm monthly. I've actually started doing this. Every month on the top of my calendar, I have the words rest, reflection, and boundaries. And that prompts me to reassess if last month I needed to make adjustments on how I protected my rest, reflection, and boundaries. For everyone, that might look different, but we know that rest does include 7 to 8 hours of proper sleep. And so maybe that means that you need to let your partner take care of the kids when you come home from work, or sending clothes to the laundry, or if you're like me, dropping them at your mama's house. Sometimes it means hiring a cleaning service. And I know that our grandmothers and mothers might roll in their graves when they hear that we're hiring people to help us clean and do laundry. But the reality is that our pace of life is different than what theirs was. And we cannot do it all. We can try, but it's not serving us as women. It's not serving us as providers that need to also take care of other people. And so allow yourself some flexibility and grace in those types of needs for your family and for yourself. It also means setting boundaries, like I said. So not checking your email when you're not on the clock, not logging into Epic when you are not on the clock. The email thing is a challenge for me because I'm in private practice, so I can easily get lost in a day of checking my email every 10 minutes. But I have set a boundary for myself, and my clients know when to call me when there is an emergency. And so therefore, if a baby's not calling my name and there's no emergency and I'm off the clock, I need to stay off the clock. And that's a hard boundary that I've set for myself. And it's something you have to revisit every so often to see what's working and what isn't, but it's something that you need to pay attention to. Burnout is very real for midwives, healthcare providers, but it can be mitigated by nurturing ourselves and pouring into ourselves. My mentor, who burned out at the age of 50, which was quite early, she said, you will not be a midwife that's gonna burn out, Annalie, not on my watch. And so she taught me a lot of things that supported me in that journey. And my partner at one point was like, I feel like you just go to births and do self-care. And sometimes that's exactly what I needed. Births, self-cares, office visits in between there. You guys in your clinical phase may not have the opportunity of going, to sit on somebody's beach every couple of months. But what you can do is take yourself for a walk with your note cards in hand while the sun is streaming on your face. You can go to the park with your Varnies in your backpack and sit down on a park bench and study. You can schedule in voice notes for 5 minutes of check-ins with people that you care about that may not be immediately around you, so that you don't feel like a disconnect is happening. Choose a day of the week that you have ascribed for yourself for self-care. 3 to 5 hours minimum. If you could do the whole day, even better. But say 3 to 5 hours on a Monday or a Sunday, or maybe Wednesday's the day you don't have clinicals and no school. Do your nails, do your hair, feel like a woman. Maybe go on a date. maybe get a massage, maybe make some nice stew or read a book. These things are really, really important. These things will protect your intuition as it grows and deepens. Number 5, we almost done. Advocate fiercely. Midwifery is rooted in advocacy for patients, for our families, for the profession itself. Use your voice to champion equitable care, to address disparities, and to elevate the importance of midwifery within the healthcare system and in the growth of our communities, our societies, the world, every chance that you get. Use your voice, because when you start to feel stifled, it leads to faster burnout. And stifling your voice will prevent the growth of your intuition. Number 6, lastly, learn to adjust. As I've heard, you guys have already been doing lots of adjusting, and it's a great life lesson that will keep coming at you. And once you start learning that lesson of how to adjust, it makes life a lot easier for you. As you embark on this path, you will witness the most intimate and transformative moments of people's lives. To be a midwife is to be a guardian of life, a comforter in times of uncertainty, and an advocate when voices need to be heard. But it also puts you in a space to navigate challenges, long hours, losses, emotional demands, and the weight of responsibility are very real. In the face of these challenges, I encourage you to remember why you chose this calling. Reflect on the passion that brought you here, the mentors and loved ones who supported you, who are sitting here with us today, and the vision that you hold for the future. That clarity of purpose will serve as your compass. So, one thing that I've done is on the front cover of my clinical notebooks, I had all of those things listed out. Line 1 was my passion that brought me here. Then I listed mentor number 1, mentor number 2, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my partner, Melissa, Niasha. And then I wrote down my vision for the future for midwifery. And anytime that I had a challenge or I felt disappointed in myself or my preceptor made me cry, I flipped back to that page. And it really, really helped to support me and reinvigorate me in the journey and reset my intentions. I also had the intention of making a plaque of that page and putting it on my wall next to my diploma. That hasn't happened yet, but it is in that journal and I can still go back to it when I need it. I just want to offer lastly some words of encouragement. There's gonna be days when the weight of your responsibility feels really overwhelming. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna face moments of doubt, but know this, that every midwife before you has walked this path and we made it. And in those moments, we experienced growth, and that growth was necessary. Allow yourself grace. Use every experience, the triumphs and the challenges, as opportunities to become the best version of yourself. And with that, I say congratulations, class of 2026. The journey ahead will not be easy, as I have been saying, but you will be profoundly rewarded. You have chosen a path that changes lives, and in doing so, you will change the world. Wear your white coats with pride, walk forward with purpose, and always remember the incredible power of your work. Thank you, and congratulations once again.
Okay, we're going to get ready to call our graduates up, or our students up, to receive their white coats and be penned. Okay, so our first student is Madison Del Toro. Let's give her a hand. And now we have Brianna Hagwood White. We have We'll just go a little slower. Brianna, congratulations. Next, we have Jennifer King. And now we have Jennifer Langman. Next, we have Erica Lewis. And now we have Isatu Moran. Next, we have Lindsay Plant. And now we have Leah Rollins. And last but certainly not least, Miss Laura Raymond. We're going to have our closing remarks by Lindsay Plant.
I'm the closer, so it's almost snack time. We wanted to wrap up echoing the same sentiments you've heard today, a brief thank you. There will be days, definitely ahead, where we are juggling clinical schedules and knee-deep in flashcards, where we forget to tell you how grateful we are. But we are. We want to thank our program faculty once again for their continued teaching and mentorship as we enter this vocation at a particularly crazy time in a particularly uncertain world. We're grateful to all the family and friends who are here today and those joining us from afar for your invaluable support and continued belief in us. We also want to give a special thank you to Ms. Naoka Turnbull, our program administrator and Girl Friday. And with that, we invite you to go ahead, get up, and join us in the lobby just outside the auditorium here for a little refreshment and a lot of celebration. Thank you.